The morning sun poured through the dusty windows of Rosie's diner, casting long golden streaks across cracked vinyl booths and chipped coffee mugs. It was just another Tuesday, except for Emily Carter. Emily had been working double shifts for weeks, stitching her life back together after her husband walked out, leaving her with a 6-year-old daughter and a mountain of unpaid bills. Her apron was frayed, her smile tired, but her heart? Her heart still believed in kindness. That belief was about to be tested. Seated at booth number 4 were Richard and Giselle Whitmore, sharp suits, designer sunglasses, and the kind of arrogance money breeds when it's never been challenged. They'd been snapping fingers at Emily all morning, complaining about lukewarm coffee and slow service, each word laced with disdain. When Emily accidentally spilled a drop of water near Giselle's designer handbag, it was the spark. "You clumsy idiot!" Giselle shrieked, her voice slicing through the quiet hum of the diner. Before Emily could apologize, Richard stood up, towering, furious, and shoved her hard. She stumbled backward, arms flailing, and crashed onto a nearby table. Plates shattered, coffee splashed. Silence fell like a guillotine. No one moved. Not the elderly couple sipping tea, not the trucker in the corner, not even Carl, the diner's manager, who stood frozen behind the counter, eyes wide with fear. The Whitmores owned half the town. Their construction empire funded the mayor's campaigns, the local theater, even half the diner's recent renovations. Emily lay on the floor, tears hot on her cheeks, feeling not just the sting of impact, but the crushing weight of invisibility. This is what it feels like to be nothing. Then, the bell above the door rang. In walked Jack Turner. Leather jacket, salt and pepper beard, eyes like storm clouds that had seen too much but refused to break. He wasn't just any biker. He was the leader of the Iron Reapers, a gang whispered about in gas stations and barbershops. But Jack hadn't ridden with vengeance in years. After losing his own daughter to violence long ago, he'd sworn to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. He didn't say a word. He just walked past the empty stools, past the stunned silence, and stood beside Emily. Not in front of her, not towering over her, beside her. A solid, quiet presence, a wall where there had been no air. Giselle scoffed. Oh, great, another greasy thug. But Jack didn't react. He simply pulled out a chair, turned it around, and sat with his back to Emily, facing the Whitmores. His stillness was louder than any shout. And then something shifted. The elderly man at booth 2 stood up. "That wasn't right," he said, voice trembling but firm. The trucker nodded. "She's worked here 10 years, never seen her spill a drop till today." Even Carl stepped forward, wiping his hands on his apron. "I saw it. You pushed her. I'll testify." The Whitmores' masks of superiority cracked. Their money couldn't buy silence here, not when decency had finally found its voice. The police arrived within minutes. Despite their protests, their connections, their lawyers on speed dial, the evidence was overwhelming. 4 witnesses, security footage, and Emily, standing tall now, her voice clear as she gave her statement. In the days that followed, the town rallied around her. Cards arrived at the diner. Neighbors brought groceries. A local counselor offered free sessions. And every evening, Emily tucked her daughter in, whispering, "Sometimes the bravest people don't carry swords. They carry silence." 1 week later, Jack returned. He didn't come for thanks. He didn't want recognition. He simply ordered black coffee, sat in the corner booth, and watched, making sure she was okay. When he left a folded napkin on the table. Emily found it later. On it, in rough handwriting, "Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just showing up." She kept that napkin in her wallet, next to her daughter's first drawing of them holding hands. Years later, Emily would open her own little cafe, Emily's Corner, where every employee was treated with dignity, and no customer, rich or poor, was allowed to speak without kindness. and on the wall behind the counter hung a framed photo, not of grand openings or awards, but of an old diner booth, sunlight on the table, and a coffee cup left behind by a man who taught her that true courage doesn't roar, it listens. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more real human stories of kindness, redemption, and quiet courage to millions around the world. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from today? And remember, one act of decency can rewrite someone's entire story. Thanks for watching.